Welcome back, everybody. You are tapped into Jammin' with Juice, baby. We just got into something juicy, and I let you guys know that Nicki Minaj, you guys, is getting political. Even though I feel like she's been a little bit political for a while. I don't know what's up with her and Kanye. They kind of one and the same to me. She's like the female version of him, like when he be crashing out. Yeah. For sure.
She be going in. I can't even front on that.
Oh, that's my phone. No, I was like, where is that? I was gonna get mad at you. Look at me. But anyway, Nicki Minaj, you guys, is set to address the UN on attacks against Christians in Nigeria with Ambassador Mike Waltz, you guys. So according to a senior political correspondent for Time, the rapper Nicki Minaj is going to partner with the United States U.S. Ambassador Mike Waltz on addressing the alleged genocide of Christians in Nigeria. They are set to speak on Tuesday, today, and share what the Trump administration is doing to help. Waltz said, "I look forward to standing with her," Nicki Minaj, "as we discuss the steps the president and his administration are taking to end the persecution of our Christian brothers and sisters." Waltz also praised Nicki for not remaining silent when it comes to injustice. She spoke out earlier in the month stating, quote, "No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion. We don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. Numerous countries all around the world are being affected by this horror, and it's dangerous to pretend that we don't notice." So, yeah, you guys, and on X, she responded to a tweet from Ambassador Mike Waltz where he said, quote, "Nicki Minaj is not only arguably the greatest female recording artist, but also a principled individual who refuses to remain silent in the face of injustice. I'm grateful she's leveraging her massive platform to spotlight the atrocities against Christians in Nigeria, and I look forward to standing with her as we discuss the steps the president and his administration are taking to end the prosecution of our Christian brothers and sisters." She reposted it and responded and said, "Ambassador, I am so grateful to be entrusted with an opportunity of this magnitude. I do not take it for granted. It means more than you know. The Barbs and I will never stand down in the face of injustice. We've been given our influence by God. There must be a bigger purpose." That is from the tweets of Miss Nicki Minaj, you guys. And I was about to start laughing only because this is just my own personal opinion, but what if like Nicki is kind of jealous in a sense? I don't want to say jealous, but kind of looking at Cardi B and how Cardi B has been very political throughout the last few years. You know, I think they had her interviewing Joe Biden, and she was at the rally for Kamala Harris here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Cardi B was up there. She had her speech. She was reading it. She looked good. Okay. And she's just very vocal and very open on her own platforms when it comes to what's going on in the country. Now, I'm not going to say she know 100% everything of what she's talking about, but hey, Cardi B be talking that talk, you know, and I'm not saying Nicki is doing everything just because Cardi is doing it, because this could 100% be something that Nicki Minaj wants to do, and it could be genuine on her end. But it's just very interesting to me how celebrities are starting to become a little bit more vocal about their values and their morals when it lies to the government, when it comes to religion, and all of the political madness that we have going on right here in 2025. But do y'all think that celebrities should get involved in political matters? You know, for Nicki to be about to speak to the UN talking about what the violence that's going on with the Christians in Nigeria that they are saying is happening. But do you think that that's something that Nicki should get into, or not even just Nicki, but anybody to that matter who is more so a celebrity? Is it important? Is it their responsibility to hop into those affairs?
Me personally, I don't think it's their responsibility for them to hop in political affairs or even, you know, international affairs, right? Because that's what Nicki Minaj is about to speak on. She's about to speak on the Christian the persecution of Christians out there in Nigeria, and the Nigerian. Why is that funny to you? People are dying.
I ain't talking about you. I was reading something.
People are dying, Juice, and you got a smile on your face. No, no. Man, sometimes I crack myself up, man, because I'm being serious as well. But no, seriously, like, it's one of these things where I don't know why they chose Nicki Minaj to be the person who could speak to Nigeria out there to stop the persecution of Christians. I would have personally liked it if they went and got somebody like a Michelle Williams, somebody who actually is somebody who sings gospel music, but at the same time is a devout Christian. I think that would be more in alignment with what they got going on out there. Nicki Minaj, may she be a global superstar. What influence does she truly have when it comes down to people who want to kill, Nigerians who want to identify as Christians? I don't think that is an alignment. It's one of these things where, sometimes I think that the major media conglomerates, even the government, is tone deaf when it comes down to who they want to pick from the black community, so to speak, or the entertainment community to help unite nations. That's what the United Nations is for, is to unite nations, not things that could be divisive towards nations. Like, I would hate to put this out there, but her influence may influence Nigerian women to go and get plastic butt surgery. Those types of ideas may permeate from this. But with that being said, how are y'all feeling, Juicy Germans, about Nicki Minaj going over there or speaking at the UN? Do we need to hear from her? Because it reminds me of a time when Hurricane Katrina had came through, and they're talking about they want to hear from Ja Rule. What in the effort do we need to hear from Ja Rule from in a time of a crisis? Same thing that I'm saying about this Nicki Minaj idea. Why do Nigerians need to hear from Nicki Minaj right now in a time of a crisis where their brothers and sisters are dying? I don't need to hear from Nicki Minaj personally. Like, right now, if there was a mass genocide, which there is a mass genocide happening right here in the homeland, I don't need to hear from a Nicki Minaj telling me how to be a better person, whatever case may be. I would love to hear what she has to say, and I hope it influences people to make a better change and become a version of themselves. But I don't see Nicki Minaj doing any of those types of things. I see her, just like you just mentioned before with the Cardi B's, I see her destroying a young woman who's trying to make something of herself, targeting her children. These are the types of things she just did 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks later, she's supposed to speak at the United Nations. She's supposed to speak at the UN to help unite nations. I don't see it, but however, y'all call in at 414-360-8999.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're gonna keep this conversation going in hour 2 of Jammin' with Juice in the 8 o'clock hour, but let us know how y'all are feeling. Do you feel like celebrities should or should not get involved in political matters and political conversations? 414-360-8999. Let me know how y'all feeling about it. We're gonna get into more conversations when we return, so don't go nowhere. It's Jammin' with Juice, y'all.
Never judge me for that. Who gon' love me like them? But like my sister Javonta and my mama and them, man, they love me with nothing. Who gon' love me like them? Or like the man.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody.
You are tapped into hour 2. Where'd the music go? Hour 2 of Jammin' with Juice, you guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you want to know what the number is, actually, I'm going to put it in the chat and I'm going to pin it at the top. 414-360-8999, you guys, as we are about to talk about Miss Nicki Minaj, who is about to speak today to the UN about the attacks going on and the violence going on when it comes to the Christians in Nigeria. But it is coming with some backlash, you guys, because people are like, okay, why do we need to hear from celebrities? Why does Nicki Minaj feel like she has to use her platform to talk about this type of issue? Mm-hmm. And I can understand where Nicki is coming from, because
where is Nicki Minaj coming from?
I think she might be thinking like, okay, I do feel like this is an issue in Nigeria, and I do feel like nobody should be killed or harassed or judged for
but
the
does she
religion.
have the political prowess to speak to these people how she needs to?
Maybe she does. And that's what I'm going to be hopeful for, because I think really most of the backlash comes from celebrities not really knowing what it is that they're talking about and what they're being aligned with. Because I'm not going to lie to you, it's actually a lot of people who are kind of giving her some backlash on this situation, because they're saying that this entire narrative of the genocide happening with the Christians in Nigeria is just a smaller portion of the bigger picture of the situation with the U.S. trying to quote unquote infiltrate Nigeria and have more influence over them in the future. And so they're saying, well, the United States could potentially be using Nicki Minaj to get this message across because she is such a global star, and it seems like she is concerned about what's going on, but it's more so the bigger picture of it all that people are kind of concerned with, because it's like, okay, Nicki, do you understand what it is that you are actually aligning yourself with, and what brand, or not brand, but what brands could look at you differently as, with you speaking up about issues like this? And even the fact that she's potentially siding with a Trump administration, that could be detrimental to her brand in a sense, because she has been praising Mr. President Trump lately, and people are a little bit concerned about it. So they're like, okay, Nicki, what's your angle here? You know, are you trying to be this humanitarian that says, I care about the things that are going on in Nigeria? Or are you using this to do something else? And, you know, are you trying to be aligned with what the U.S. could potentially be trying to do and trying to get into having more influence with Nigeria, especially since they are trying to be a little bit more independent and have their own infrastructures? What's really the reason? What is the reason? But when it comes to celebrities, I really just want them to know what it is that what they're talking about, because
Right.
I can't come on these airwaves and say that I don't think celebrities should talk about political matters, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they are important. They are influential, which is
Yeah.
why when the election time was coming out, we saw a bunch of different celebrities for both sides coming out saying who you should vote for. You had, what was that guy's name? He just recently passed away. The white dude with the gold, the blonde hair.
Oh, you talk about Hulk Hogan?
Yes, Hulk Hogan. Like,
Yeah.
he's one celebrity, you know, that obviously sided with Trump's side. But then on the Democratic side, you had like Beyonce come out and Kelly Rowland come out. And like we mentioned before, Cardi B came to speak at rallies. Like, it was a whole concert here in Milwaukee
Okay, now.
with Glorilla and what's that other girl name? But you know, I'm
MC
terrible
Lyte
with
came
names.
out?
A bunch of
Yeah,
people came.
yeah.
But this is what the celebrities are doing now, using their influence to speak about issues that their demographic wouldn't necessarily know about if they weren't tapped into them. So I do think that there is a time and a place, but I just want to make sure that Nicki knows, and whoever else is aligning themselves with certain ideas knows exactly what it is they're saying, what they're doing, and why. That's all I want to know is does she know why in the bigger picture of it all?
And that's what I'm talking about though too, Juice, man. Like, you know, it sounds funny and hilarious that Nicki Minaj is going up there to the UN to speak, but as long as she's actually educated and informed and cares about the matter, then I'm willing to hear her say anything. Just like you know, any American out here who wants to speak up for, you know, injustices around the world. Like, if you can actually speak on that matter and have something valuable to say, then, you know, I think it's willing to, you know, I'm willing to lend an ear to it. But at the same time, with her having a big platform as she does, you know, I just hope she doesn't mislead the people. And I believe in Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually, you know, this is another thing about me that y'all may know or may not know. And I actually just said this yesterday, but we truly need to be on every faction of this here American economy that we possibly can. And, you know, Nicki Minaj may be a rapper, but branding wise, I think that it's always great when these big time rappers, from Kanye West to Rihanna to Jay-Z, get into these political matters. Because I personally believe, even a Beyonce, because I personally believe that they have, you know, not all of them, but some of them have our best interest at heart, or are somewhat of a Trojan horse to get us all in there, you know. And I've seen it again and time again, where it was Rihanna. Rihanna's actually a part of the UN. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but she's actually a part of the UN, and she's the person who decided to get in there and came back to her homeland of Barbados and started to help out down there. And I forget the exact title that she has now, but in doing so, being a part of the UN, she was able to get her country a lot of different funds that, had she not spoke up and became and joined the UN way back in the day, they wouldn't be able to get right now. Same thing for like Jay-Z. Jay-Z became a part of the UN back in like 2006. He joined the UN, became a part of the United Nations, or some kind of advocate, whatever case may be. But in doing so, he went out there to Africa and started to put up water pipes out there in Africa and things like that. But I mean, even myself, I want to be a part of the UN, you know. and really get down that way, man. Because a lot of people think that the only way you can invoke change in your community or whatever is running in your local office, which is a great way to do it and go about those types of things. But I really want to impact the world in a major way. So I know if I'm going to do that, I have to, in some way, shape, or form political relationships with the United Nations.
I think some people might try to use that as leverage for their own selves too, though.
It's very true.
They might look at, on the surface, it's like, oh yeah, I care about uniting all the nations together, right? Mm-hmm. But then underneath all that, it could be, no, I'm really just trying to build these relationships. I got
my own political agenda.
Yes, trying to build the relationships, because like you said, relationships is very important. And if you have relationships with people who are in higher positions and in higher power, who know, that's how Trump got how far he got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's because he got friends in high places.
That's facts. Yeah, that's why I'm voting for the governor I'm voting for next year. All right.
Who's that?
I'm voting for Crowley. That's what I'm voting for. I really don't see nobody else who can mess with that man. I really don't. And when I'm talking about all the other people who are running currently right now, the other candidates, I don't see anybody else that I'm willing to vote for. I do see an Asian woman who's from Madison. I've seen and heard a few of her things, but I actually have a real relationship with David Crowley. So when it comes down to David Crowley, that's more than likely who I'm voting for, unless he messes up. All right, in between now and what the elections the next year, doing something crazy, maybe dropping talking bad about blacks or something like that. I think that's still the only way he actually would lose Ben Jamin's vote. But otherwise, I'm gonna roll with my boy.
All right, same here.
But I got my own political agendas, right?
You're trying to run you're trying to build the relationships up so you can run yourself in 2052, right?
Yeah, because I'm going to become the president in 2052.
In 2052, exactly.
And how dope would it be that I already know a governor? He's just one governor that I may know. By 2052, I may know all of them.
For sure.
Make me friends of the show.
While Nicki is telling everybody what her intentions are as far as helping the Christians out there in Nigeria, we have another celebrity who has recently gone viral for their comments, Pharrell Williams. So let's hear what he has to say, because he is saying that he's not on either side.
We got a video clip?
Yeah.
All right.
I would hope so.
Let's play this video clip of Pharrell then, y'all. Let's see what Pharrell Williams got to say.
It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side, because I think when you pick a side, you are only you are inadvertently supporting division. Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just gotta say, think about it. The wells are drying up, and now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best? The best. Do you want someone to support your startup because you're black or because you're the best? Yes. Right, so I think now for me it's about us having the best ambition. That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. That's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on. And if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I want to focus on being the best, because I can bank on that. Because that's what's going to get you the position. Where, I don't want you to give me anything. I want you to panic and not let me out the room because I'm the best.
Okay, very interesting take from Pharrell Williams. That was what he had to say when it comes to the political landscape. He was at the 5th annual Black Ambition Demo Day, and he's just saying, listen, I hate politics. I think it kind of divides us in a sense. So he's another celebrity who is coming forth and being a little bit more honest when it comes to the political era that we are in right now. And he's like, I don't like it. But he's getting some backlash from those comments, and I understand somewhat where he's coming from, but some people are saying okay, that sounds like a person who is so out of touch with regular people now and doesn't really only cares about themselves in a sense. And I wouldn't say he cares about himself, but I will say his comments to me almost sounded like I don't see color in a sense. Like, you just need to be the best. Like, you just need to be the best. Who cares if you're black, if you're white, if you're Asian, if you're Mexican, whatever. You just need to be the best, and that's going to work out for you. I don't want things getting handed to me just because I am black. And I understand that, and I agree. It's like, okay, you just want to be the best regardless of what your race is. But at the end of the day, your race is literally like your color is there. Everyone sees that. That's what you walk into rooms with sometimes. And because of that, even if you are the best, you might not get certain opportunities, which is why certain systems are put in place to try to help and mitigate those types of things. But hey, that's just his opinion. He don't like politics.
Yeah, and that's cool. If he
That's
doesn't-
cool.
It's cool.
I ain't mad at him.
It's cool if he doesn't like politics, but Pharrell Williams is a smart gentleman who knows for a fact he has a platform, and as big as it is, as soon as he speaks on politics, it becomes political. You know, and a lot of the rhetoric that he spewed right there actually is aligns with right-wing ideology. All right, because what that was, just what he basically just said was the whole DEI idea.
I'm conservative.
Yeah.
That's the side I'm picking.
That's legitimately what the man basically just said. The whole DEI idea doesn't really matter, and it shouldn't matter, because he's like, I just want to be the best. You know, and if you're the best, that's the only thing that should matter. And although I do agree with being the best, because I definitely want to be the best, I do see people out there who, because of their skin color or because of whatever they may identify as, are left behind. You know, and you know, I grew up in the era of George Bush signing away and basically going on to go say that, you know, there should be no child left behind. You know, so I do believe that we can all win together, and I don't think that we should just leave people out because they're not the best. And that's just how I feel about it. But,
Right. And it just is like, man, I get where a lot of these celebs are coming from. Even like, but one that I am a little bit confused about is Stephen A. Smith.
I'm not confused about him at all. I know exactly what he's
I
doing.
don't know where this like shift has come, or even if it was a shift and I just didn't know about it because he didn't speak on it, but now he's more so speaking about politically what's going on. But it seems like he is constantly just siding with the Trump administration for whatever reason. Do you think it's just because he's trying to get in their good graces, so when things hit the fan, he's safe?
Yeah, it's a lot of that juice. His paycheck is tied to it, right? ESPN, Disney. It's tied to it all. So when we talk about, you know, how Stephen A. Smith has, for whatever reason, came out to be the MAGA, the rabid dog that the MAGA people need, you know, he's became that. Like and honestly, I'm upset with Stephen A. Smith. I truly am.
Yeah.
You know, I was growing to liking Stephen A. Smith. I was like, you know what, man, he's a cool dude. I like his path. I like how he goes about speaking his ideas and whatever may have you. But as soon as he decided to start speaking on political ideas, when it was going from Kamala Harris to Jasmine Crockett, it seems to me that any black person who has some kind of power or develops a platform, Stephen A. Smith comes out of nowhere, like I said, like a rabid dog for the MAGA right-wing agenda, and he comes out and slams them every time. It's not like he even speaks to them as if he's trying to lift them up, or speaks to them as if he's trying to get, or speaks about them as if he's even trying to see them in a positive light, or try to see what they could possibly be doing to help out. He is literally for MAGA right now. You know, and it could be because, like I said before, his dollars are tied directly to it. You know, and he is the biggest black voice that they have commentating on those platforms. So why not use him? You know, Stephen A. Smith knows how this whole business works. A lot of those folks use and read scripts because they got how many producers back there telling them what they need to speak on and how they need to speak on it about it. And no, Stephen A. Smith, when you go on your rants, you need to go on your rant just like this. I guarantee you that's a lot of what is happening to him right now. And he may actually truly believe those things, but I think it's super sad, you know, especially the idea that, you know, Donald Trump had said, you know, I believe that Stephen A. Smith could be the president one day. You know, after that, that let me know everything that I needed to know, because although even Kanye West was running for president, Donald Trump didn't believe Kanye West could be president. He said that, I believe Stephen A. Smith could be president. You want to know why? Because there's a relationship, a pact that was formed behind closed doors that the general public knows nothing about. So I'm just saying, man.
Do you feel
it's sad?
Do you feel like your support for an artist depends on what their political views are, or you don't care? Like for someone like a Stephen A., right? If you're a really big fan of Stephen A., if you're a sports journalist and you look up to a Stephen A., do you still look up to him even though his ideas might go against your own, or even for Pharrell or a Nicki?
No, I mean, Juice, personally, for me, as long as the political views aren't too out there, you know, and it's not too erroneous. I like that word today. I don't know why I'm using it so much, but it's not too erroneous. So it's not too it's not too erroneous to where, you know, it's impacting people's lives where people are dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I just said, you know, about 20 minutes ago, Jeff Bezos, I actually admire his path into what he has done. Jeff Bezos is clearly a part of the oligarchy. He's clearly sitting at the tables with Donald Trump, you know. But I admire how he got to where he went, you know. Same thing with Pharrell Williams. I mean, I've always admired Pharrell, and what he just said right there shows me exactly how he thinks about this current political climate that we're in. But it doesn't make me dislike him. Even Nicki Minaj going up there speaking at the UN, I'm actually proud for her. If I I don't have the bomb with me right now, but I drop a bomb for Nicki Minaj because I think that is a huge thing. I think that's a huge achievement for any young black woman who made themselves up into who they needed to be to get to a platform like that to potentially help out, save lives. Because again, the whole reason she's even going over there to speak at the UN is because Christians are being persecuted. There are so many people here in America who claim to be Christian, who live under a false pretense of what Christianity is, who don't give a damn about what's happening with the Africans up over there. You know, so the fact that she is speaking on that, and again, hopefully she can unite, I'm proud of her. And it's a hell of an accomplishment. It's a hell of an achievement. Shout out to Young Money, YMCMB.
I think people are kind of upset about it because they're saying that the United States is using this as a way to get into Nigeria. I mean, because the whole Christians being killed in Nigeria, that might not be a lie, but why are they singling out the Christian idea when they're saying Muslims out there are getting killed, kids out there are getting killed, and so many other people are out there getting killed in Nigeria allegedly, but they're sticking onto the Christian idea only when there are other things going on, other genocides that are happening over in that area. So that's why they're saying that the United States could potentially be, or the government is potentially using Nicki to put this on a pedestal and to put this idea out there because they want to try to get back into Nigeria, even though Nigeria is one of the countries that is trying to get away from Western influences. Correct. And so that's why they're saying, like, okay, if Nigeria is trying to get away from the U.S. and the U.S. knows that, and they don't want to lose the influence out there in Africa, specifically in Nigeria, because it's like one of the biggest economies over there, this is how they're going to do it. This is how they're going to infiltrate and be like, okay, listen, we have to help you guys because y'all are having an issue over there, even though Nigerians are like, we don't need y'all, like, leave us alone. So again, it's kind of like, Nicki, are you siding with the right side right now for whatever the big picture of it all is? I understand that Nicki is maybe she does want to be humanitarian, maybe she is saying like, hey, listen, I care about the Christians over there, but I'm more so thinking about the other issues that are at hand with them putting this message out there on such a large platform and using Nicki Minaj to do so. You know, I don't want her to be used, I guess is what I'm saying. But if she knows what she's doing and she feels passionately about this situation, then go for it, if that's really what you want. But I just think that it's important for us to have people up there who truly do know what's going on.
No, I agree with that, Juice. But first I want to say you have to be used at some point in your life or else you're just useless. Secondly, I would also go to say that Nicki Minaj is a smart woman. Onika is a smart woman. So on face value, it may just seem like, oh, I'm Nicki Minaj, I'm out here with the bombs, and I'm finna go ahead and speak for the UN, and I'm finna go and make certain that the Africans can not be persecuted anymore for being Christians. On face value, it looks good, but secondly, I get on the other end, I know for a fact there is an agenda that she has of her own that she's going to win at when it all comes to a head. But no, Juice, you're correct. The whole Christians down there are being persecuted. We need to get up over there and help them out. It's definitely a Trojan horse. The Christianity idea about America going over there to help out other quote unquote Christians is definitely a Trojan horse, because even that's the whole thing about this.
Trump ain't even Christian.
Well, and so that's what I'm trying to say though, Juice. It's like MAGA claims to be Christian, but they lack a lot of Christian values. You know, just being a good person. These are the same. American Christianity is BS. I just want to throw that out there. American Christianity is BS. And when I talk about the American Christianity. I'm talking about the American Christianity that the KKK claim. The KKK claims to be the religion of a Jesus. Who these are the same people who decided to burn a cross outside black people's homes and said this is all underneath the guise of Christianity. These are the same people. So these now are the same people who claim MAGA and are finna go ahead and say, hey, we're finna rescue a few African Christians up over there because they're being persecuted, but you can't even rescue the people right here in your own homes.
That's facts. And it's just like if Nigeria don't want you over there, then stop talking about
They're
it.
going over there for
Leave
oil.
them alone,
They're going
bro.
over there for oil. They're going over there because they want to mark their Western influence. They know that Africa is about to go through a whole economic boom.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's happening right now in Africa.
They don't want us.
And America cannot afford to lose our influence over there in Africa. We cannot afford to lose what we have going on up over there currently right now, because the way they see it is if we lose in Africa, then we lose as a nation in totality.
So that's why I'm saying this feels very forceful, and it seems like they are using Nicki in order to make it sound better, make it seem better, and put the idea on a pedestal, when really I don't know if that's something that we should be doing, but that's just my take on it. I don't have an issue with celebrities speaking out about political issues. We've saw a lot of celebrities come out when it was the George Floyd protests and things like that, and when we needed celebrities to come out and help rally and use their influence to try to get Kamala as the president. I get that. I understand it, because that's something that is a little bit more simple. But when it comes to like complex ideas, I don't know if I would 100% trust the average celebrity if I don't think that they know what it is that they're talking about. Not saying that's Nicki, not saying that's Pharrell, not saying that's Stephen A. Smith. I'm just saying overall, in general, in totality, they can use their platform, but just make sure you're not spreading misinformation, because your platform could be the only place that people get certain information.
No, for real, man. It's one of the things where we've seen celebrity marketing time and time again when they're ready to push a message like that. It's just what happens. They use celebrity influence so you can buy the idea of whatever they're selling. Whether it was with, Kamala Harris, as we just mentioned before, they got Beyonce selling Kamala, they got Don Cheadle selling Kamala, they got John Legend selling Kamala. Everybody was selling Kamala when Kamala Harris was running for president, including a few other radio stations, right? But with that being said, I'm not saying in totality that it is wrong. I am just saying that what you said before, Juice, I just want to make certain that it's coming from the right voice. Like, if we're talking about healthcare, I want to hear from a real doctor. I don't want to hear from Nicki Minaj. I don't want to hear from Jay-Z.
I'm not trying to hear from a Michelle Williams, though, as well, on this topic. Like, that she's not a pilot. Like, I don't want to hear from her. I don't.
I would respect it a little bit more when I see her having a lot more Christian values versus what Nicki Minaj has did and done.
I mean, I guess. I was about to say some more stuff about I don't think it's necessarily about Christian values, but
do you really want plastic in your ass?
That is the conversation today.
I want to hear her talk like that today.
But I think now it's time to make room for the
Nobody
protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
Whoa.
What the heck is that?
Shout out to Allstate. Rabbit hole. Okay, so if you guys do not know what a rabbit hole is, it is a piece of information you find on the internet or experience in real life that takes you from one piece of information you find to another up until your curiosity is satisfied. And today, Juicy Jammers, I like that. I like that energy. And today, Juicy Jammers, we could talk about how a 19-year-old Brazilian woman delivered twins who each have different fathers, all right? Doctors say both boys were conceived within a single day.
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
Hey, they were conceived within a single day by two separate men, okay? A rare event known as heteropaternal superfecundation. That sounds freaky enough.
I just want to know, how did they know? Like, was one a white man and the other black man? So now the babies looked completely different, which honestly, they say it is a thing that can happen from the same dad, that one pops up black, the other pops up a little bit more white in complexion.
I ain't gonna lie.
For sure.
That would make me want to kill somebody. I ain't gonna lie.
One got blue eyes, one got brown.
I'm like, what the hell? Who been in your vagina?
Okay.
You know, that's what I would ask.
All right.
That's what I would ask. But no, today, Juicy Jammers, we're going to talk about a question I have. All right, y'all want to know what this question is?
Yes.
All right, today, Juicy Jammers, we're going to talk about a question I have. And that question is if white Americans do become a minority in the next 20 years, all right, if white Americans do become a minority in the next 20 years, would America really become a jungle? All right. And I know what I said sounds like I have no faith in humanity. All right. It sounds like I have no faith in, I guess, the minorities of current today. But it's supposed to sound like that. All right. It's supposed to sound a little racist. All right. Because,
It's supposed to sound a little racist.
yeah, because when I actually heard the video clip that I'm gonna play on the rabbit hole, it was racist as hell. All right, but it's supposed to sound like that. I have no faith in my fellow Americans because some people in this country, or who claim to be from this country and claim to hold American values near and dear to their hearts, believe exactly what I said. All right, they believe that if indeed white people do become a minority in the next 20 years, that America, as we know it, will turn into a jungle. What kind of jungle? Maybe Jurassic Park. All right, it might turn into Planet of the Apes after my black ass becomes the president in 2052. It may even turn into an underwater aquarium for all the people racists call wetbacks, all right? Hell, it could even turn into a planet known as Cybertron after Elon Musk robots take over. All right, so stand back and stand
Will
by.
America be a jungle? That's what they said, Josh. Will America be a jungle?
Hey, for real though. Also, stand back and stand by for the next 3 minutes to take a juice break. Because when we come back, we finna take our trip down the rabbit hole. Will America become a jungle if all the minorities take over? Will it turn into Planet of the Apes? Too many blacks. I love the blacks.